Hey everyone, this is Pete, and it's time for some arcade-style action on the Atari 8-bit, as we take a look at Frogger 2, ThreeeDeep, a 1984 release from Parker Brothers. Frogger 2 is an example of an interesting phenomenon that persisted throughout the 80s and early 90s, sequels to arcade games that were exclusive to home platforms, and which generally had little or nothing to do with their original Japanese developers. That doesn't mean games like Frogger 2 are in any way less worthwhile than their illustrious and often more well-known predecessors though. In fact, Frogger 2 is a very solid follow-up that doesn't reinvent things too drastically, but which nonetheless introduces some new ideas. Frogger 2 drew widespread praise on its original release for its solid gameplay and its excellent presentation. It's a game I remember being very fond of as a kid, so I'm looking forward to revisiting it. Let's go play Frogger 2, ThreeeDeep.
Okay, here we are with Frogger 2, ThreeeDeep for Atari 8-bit. This also came out on a variety of other platforms, including Atari 2600, ColecoVision, and a bunch of other consoles as well. I think Commodore 64 as well. But yeah, I know it from the Atari 8-bit version, and it was quite well regarded on Atari 8-bit, so let's give it a go. Frogger 2, ThreeeDeep, copyright 1984, Sega Enterprises Incorporated. Even though Sega had very little to do with this, and Konami had even less to do with it. So select one player game, option level 1. I think we can just press fire to start. Okay, so in this game, much like the original Frogger, your aim is to get your frog into the berths at the top of the screen. The difference is, it unfolds across 3 different screens, rather than just the one screen with the traffic and all that. And, unlike the original Frogger, this game also acknowledges the fact that frogs can swim. So this level is underwater, but we now filled all the berths at the top of this screen now, so what we have to do is we have to hop onto an occupied one, and we're now above the water. And we now have some more sort of vaguely traditional Frogger gameplay, I guess you'd call it. As we have to get our frog into the little rubber ring there. That is the last berth for this level. Oh no, there is one more thing we need to do on this level. So there's no more berths here. There's no more berths underwater. So what we have to do is we have to bump into this this bird. Whoopsie! You don't actually die if you fall in the water in this one. You just go back to the underwater stage, which is inconvenient, but not fatal. So we need to hit this bird. No, we don't. I thought all you had to do was run into that bird, but apparently not. I think what we have to do is jump on its back. Which is not happening right now, because it's not coming anywhere near where I need it to be. No, damn it. Come here, bloody bird. Oh, it turns around every time I get near it. What am I doing wrong? I'm sure you use the bird to get up to the the last screen is up in the sky. And I'm sure you need to jump onto the bird's back to do that. But it just seems every time he gets near me, he turns around. Maybe you have to jump onto him from an alligator. There we go, that's what you have to do. Right. So in this stage, you have to Bounce. Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. And land on the birds. And hop between them. And get to Froggy Heaven. And then you do the whole thing again, but harder. Because that is the Frogger way. So yeah, I really like this game, just because it's Frogger but different. And I think that but different part is a solid addition to the standard formula. Because very often these games that took a classic arcade game and then tried to put a new twist on it did something weird or stupid. And it didn't work very well. But what we got here is a really solid re-implementation of the Frogger formula that feels like a plausible sequel. Like, although this game had nothing to do with Sega or Konami, this feels plausibly like what a Frogger 2 in the arcades could have been like. Because it's using a lot of the same skills. It's using the same style of gameplay. But it's adding some sensible new twists on the formula. So careful timing, observation of what's going on. Awareness of what all the hazards do. Lovely stuff. 2 levels down. On to the third one. And as you can see, each level gets a bit more tightly packed with nasty things. And you also have to contend with the current of the river when you're underwater. You see now when I sit still, Frogger's getting dragged sideways, which can lead you into danger. You see we also have additional considerations now, like the hippos stop and shake you off every so often. We've got this dragon thing now. I think that shows up in the earlier levels anyway. And the berths on this level are moving now as well. There we go. And the current changes as well. You see we're now getting dragged to the left. Whoopsie. Yeah, I really like this game. I've always really liked this game. I'm very fond of it, and I don't think it gets talked about enough. Because Frogger, the original Frogger, is an undisputable classic. But I honestly, genuinely believe this needs to be considered alongside it. And the only reason it isn't is because it only came out on home platforms. And mostly home computer platforms. And we've talked a bit about this on this channel before. But one thing with modern gaming history is it's often very console-centric. And quite America-centric at times as well. That's not to say that there's no recorded history of computer games and European games and that sort of thing. But I do think a big part of the reason why this game doesn't get more recognition is because it's primarily a home computer game. And yes, it did come out on the Coleco... Whoops, that's incorrect. Yes, it did come out on the ColecoVision. But I don't know anyone who owned a ColecoVision, and I bet you don't. Which is a shame, because the ColecoVision was a really cool system from what I've seen of it. But it just didn't get the same level of success that the 2600 did initially, and the NES did after it. So I tend to find that ColecoVision kind of ends up in the same bin of history as home computers do. It's sort of it's a thing that's, oh, that's interesting and quaint, isn't it? It doesn't really get taken seriously. And as a result, games like this that came out on ColecoVision as their main console release, they get forgotten about. Which is really unfortunate. But anyway, you've heard me rant on this subject too many times in the past, I'm sure. The point is, Frogger 2 is good. And you should play it. And you should love it. It's actually been a good few years since I last played this, and yeah, I'm really enjoying this. No, don't get me. Ah. Oh, damn it. You know, I think I actually played this before I played the original Frogger. Because we had a lot of games on our Atari 8-bit when I was a kid. Mostly acquired illicitly from what was euphemistically called the local computer club. Which, as we all know, was... well, I mean, they did stuff at the computer club. I don't want to be too unfair to them. But computer clubs like that were also often piracy exchanges. Which is why I have a big disc box full of discs, labelled by hand, each of which contains multiple video games, which we did not pay for. And interestingly, though, I don't think any of those discs we had Frogger on them. And there was a good version of the original Frogger for Atari 8-bit. In fact, I believe there were multiple good versions of Frogger for Atari 8-bit. Oh, damn it. Unbelievable. Right, let's go again. Yeah, I believe there were actually multiple ports of Frogger for Atari 8-bit. I think there was one by Sierra Online, if I remember correctly, and another one that was published by Sega. But we didn't have that. What we did have was Preppy, which we've seen previously on this channel, which is a very good Frogger-like game. It's not identical to Frogger, but it is very much like Frogger. And for a lot of people, it's actually better than Frogger. I don't know if I agree with that. Preppy's certainly a very good game, But I think it's different enough from Frogger that the two can comfortably coexist. But yeah, in that big collection of floppy disks we had for Atari 8-bit, filled with illicitly acquired software, we had Preppy, we had Frogger 2, but I don't think we had the original Frogger. And so I played Preppy, and I played Frogger 2 before I played Frogger. I'm pretty convinced of that. I don't need to go all the way up there, do I? I need to hit the bird instead. Now, my enduring memory of the original Frogger comes one summer when my parents had gone away to go and visit my brother in the States. Oh, that's a bonus. That's not an enemy. I thought it was an enemy. Yeah, my parents had gone away to visit my brother in the States, and they had, rather foolishly, as it turned out, left teenage me in the house by myself because I was old enough to look after myself and I could obviously be trusted. And of course, I had a party. An illicit party where people I didn't really know from school came along and got drunk and did things that they weren't supposed to. But that's not the point. The main point of this is that during that summer, oh, what's going on there? It's a stork. Was that good? I guess that was good. But yeah, anyway, during that summer, as well as the illicit party, which, yes, my parents found out about, and yes, I got into a lot of trouble for. For the rest of the time, I was in sixth form at the time. My friends Woody and Ed came over for much of the time that my parents were away, and we spent a lot of time drinking and playing PlayStation games and swearing. But one of the things I remember during that time is I introduced Woody and Ed to emulation, which was still in its relative infancy at the time, but MAME existed, and you could play a bunch of cool games on MAME, including Frogger, the original arcade version. Now, as it turned out, Woody, in particular, was a big fan of the original Frogger, and he'd not played it for a good few years. And so suddenly having arcade-perfect Frogger available to his slightly drunken self was rather marvellous for him. And so he spent a good few days absolutely glued to our home computer, to our PC, playing Frogger on MAME. And it got to a point where he was playing so much that often Ed would just go to bed. He would just go to bed because he was so fed up with just endless Frogger over and over again. He would be getting more and more drunk off whatever booze he'd managed to find down the back of the sofa or whatever. And it was just a great time. It was just a really nice memory. There wasn't anything particularly specifically funny related to Frogger that is attached to that memory, but it's a really fond, nice memory regardless. Oh, damn it. And so I will always associate the original Frogger with that long hot summer when I was left by myself. And I discovered that I don't really like tequila. And where I discovered that people at school were willing to be my friend if I provided an opportunity for them to get away from their parents and get drunk for an evening. And yeah, there was much silliness in that summer. And there are things I regret, such as the party, which was a silly idea. Because I foolishly thought I could get away with it, not taking into account the fact that teenagers at parties tend to break things and make a mess of things. And so there was eventually no way that I could hide the fact that I had this illicit party from my parents, because whoever had been playing music on the hi-fi in the lounge blew up my dad's speakers. And yeah, I believe that there was like a figurine got broken as well. And I ended up having to replace that with my own money. Which was one of those situations where I was like, you know what, it's a fair cop. It's a fair cop. I shouldn't have done that. I will pay the penalty. So yeah, indirectly, those are my memories of the original Frogger, and how they don't relate to this game at all. Because I played this game before I played the original Frogger. Excuse me. And that was that. But anyway, this is a great game and you should play it. The end. Not quite the end. Oh dear, whoops. Not quite the end. We'll play to the end of this game and then I think we'll call it a day. Before I share any more embarrassing stories about my past. Come on, bird. Oh, missed. Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. No, that's no good, is it? I love that there's just pterodactyls along with all the normal birds and the dragon. Just some pterodactyls as well. And the ecological diversity of this pond is amazing. You got ducks, you got hippos, you've got what appears to be a whale. You've got turtles. And Frogger is pretty massive when you think about it. That's a whale. And he's almost as big as it. Right, can I clear level 3? I suspect not. But let's give it a honest go. And see how we get on with it. It's just a really cool feeling of fighting against the current in this one. Now, the way the current changes speed and occasionally direction is quite unnerving. Come on. Come on. There we go. Right. 20,000. Oh, damn it. Get extra life, lose extra life. Good work. Excellent work. Oh. Getting overly cocky now, that's the problem. Nope. Incorrect. Incorrect. Well, the timing for this is getting much harder. Bird is in just the wrong place at the wrong time, pretty consistently. Oh! Oh, you idiot. Jump straight into the bloody dragon. Okay, I think that's our best score yet, though. And that is Frogger 2, 3Deep. With 3 E's for some reason. But that's how it goes. That's how it goes in the world of Frogger. Anyway, that's a really fun game that I really like, as is hopefully apparent from our time with it today. And I encourage you to check it out, whether it's on Atari 8-bit, as you see here, or on ColecoVision, if you're cool. Or, like I say, C64 has got a version, I think, as well. I'm not sure what else it came out on, but it certainly came out on several different platforms, so you could probably find it on the retro platform of your preference. So, we'll leave that there for now. Just remains for me to say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.